Welcome, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to host you on Stories of Opportunity. For those of you who are joining in for the first time, Stories of Opportunity is a platform and a tribute to individuals who are doing something not only to establish themselves, but also at the same time to give back to the community. Every week, we invite a unique individual who have made a unique contribution in the ecosystem. For those of you who are seeing me for the first time, I'm Aditya Sisodia, your friendly host for the show. I'm a professional coach, organizational consultant, and a behavioral facilitator. In our today's episode, I have invited a very good friend and a fellow coach, Piyush Mahajan. She is a former corporate technical honko turned into current full-time life and a career coach. I have worked with Piyush on numerous projects, and today's topic is something which is close to both me and Piyush, where we talk about in our today's episode, season 6, episode 3, career confusion and career goals. So I would invite all of you to please put in your thoughts in the comment below, and I would be bringing our guest for today. So see you on the other side. Hi Piyush, how are you?
Hi Aditya, I am good.
It's really my privilege, and finally, we are getting to interact. We haven't met during the pandemic. And again, for
Yes.
all the viewers, I regularly interact with Piyush, and this was one of the idea. Piyush, we brainstorm a lot, so why don't we digitally brainstorm this side? And this time, we'll invite our viewers and the fellow participants also, who would be intrigued by our conversation and would learn a lot from our experience.
Certainly, certainly. And I think I was waiting for this day because I have been seeing story of opportunities for so many people, lots of learning, and lots of learning from you as well, Aditya, and the other speakers who have come at this platform. And I think while I was waiting, I have got this opportunity today, and I'm so glad I'll be discussing and learning as well.
Likewise, Piyush, likewise. So, Piyush, please, I would invite you to share a bit about yourself for the audience who are joining us for the first time.
All right. So I am mainly known as career coach, Mrs. Life Coach. There are many reasons behind it. If anyone goes to my website, I have defined Mrs. Life Coach. I'll come to that little, later. Basically, as Aditya mentioned, that I have about 11 years of corporate journey, and hence, the while I was working, I wanted to transition to learning and development. So I was much into training. I used to volunteer trainings. I was a toastmasters. So in toastmasters, we used to go for a lot of meetings. I used to develop modules out of my interest, and hence I thought that this is something which is my calling, and I wanted to transition. So about 4 years back, that was in 2017, I thought that I'm going to leave everything. I'm going to leave my job and I'm going to transition. And hence, whosoever knows my journey knows that I am a very peculiar case of career transition. I have planned my transition. People like Aditya and others who may be watching me, and we who are there in this discussion would know that how I have transitioned. And again, luckily, um, so when I started, when I had this thought in mind, and I think everything in my environment started changing. So it was kind of a law of attraction which started helping me, and I started getting that positivity. I started getting that way. I started getting ideas on how I can do it, and hence I got this ICF certification, which is the first level of certification. It actually changed my view of looking at things. I wanted to do training. I thought I'll be never fit for a one-to-one session. I thought I can never be, sit in front of a person and talk to him or her about what he's feeling, what he's going through, etc. But then, these 4 years have taught me a lot, and here I am, talking about my opportunities and talking about the topic that we have in hand. And that, as Aditya mentioned, this is very close to our heart, because this is something that we have been discussing earlier as well. And career confusion is, it's amongst everyone. Even Aditya and I would have it, even you would have it, right? So all of us have confusion, all of us are in different stages of confusion, and yes, that's what we are going to discuss. So yes.
Great. And there are so many people who have joined us in the chat who are commenting. So let's start. So, Piyush, this is my welcoming question to you. Why did you choose this topic for our today's conversation? Career confusion and goal setting.
Yes. As I have already mentioned that this topic is very close to our heart, and when we talk to anyone who is struggling in their career, and even if someone is not struggling in career, they feel, oh, we have to grow, we have to take ourselves to the next level, and hence there is a confusion: how, where, why, you know, and that is where goal setting process comes into picture. And hence I thought, all of us, even if we are satisfied in our career, or we are struggling to get the life of our fulfillment, life of our satisfaction in professional life, all of us face that confusion. And I think goal setting is something that all of us should do. So even if we are working, even we are job seekers, even if we are about to start our career, we are early starters, we are first time managers, we are senior leaders, learning about a goal setting process is such a basic thing, but I think very important to talk about and understand as well. And I think I love picking up some basic things, very small things, and hence, so we usually miss talking about small things when we talk about big things. And hence I thought I'll choose a topic which is very basic and very important for each one of us who is a working professional.
Wow. Thanks for sharing. And this is one of the thoughts which I come across, and something which I question myself also. How many of us actually take out time for setting goals? And how many of us, like you just mentioned, I confess, I also have career confusion. If you ask me, where do you see yourself 5, 10, on the face of it, I would say, but deep down under, I also know what am I saying. Like, let's just say the lockdown pandemic and the last 2 years, it wasn't something which anyone had seen or predicted. So I totally agree with you on this. And at this point, I would welcome one of the questions from Varun. So Varun has asked, how important is setting your career goal according to current scenario?
Okay. um, I think Varun would really, if you would self reflect, all right, the answer will be in front of you. And I think in current scenario, it is really very important when we talk of goal setting, etc. In the morning, also, I was talking to one of the clients, and when I asked him that, where do you see yourself in coming 2 years? And he was like, 2 years? It we usually talk about 5 years. We usually talk about 10 years. Meninga, no. Yeah, current scenario is all about where do you see yourself next, where do you see yourself next. And I think 5 years is so much, 10 years is so much, so let's have it 2 years. And the next question I'm going to put you is, where do you see yourself next year, where do you see yourself in 6 months time, right? Hence, since we are living in a VUCA world, there's so much of volatility, there's so much of changes happening, and there are so many of opportunities available. If we see, there are so many careers which are not in demand, but there are I think double which have come up, right? There are a lot of subject matter experts at places. There's a need of skills wherein we need a overlap. There's a lot of talk around upskilling, there's a lot of talk around transferable skills. And hence I think it is very important for all of us to set a career goal and take ourselves through a journey. If you want to talk to a coach, if you want to have a mentor, you can talk to your nears and dears, obviously. So but if you want to take a professional help, I'm sure a coach will take you to a journey which takes you from 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 2 year from now, right? And hence you'll start getting clarity, you'll start networking with the right people accordingly. Yeah, so I think, Varun, it is very important for all of us to set the career goals, especially in current scenario when we are, in a world of opportunities. We are in a world of change.
And one of the thoughts that was going through my mind was, Piyush, when people come and ask us, okay, how should I see myself in 2 years? I just laugh it off and I said, what do you think? As coaches or mentors, are we like astrologers, numerologists, that we'll just see your resume and we'll tell you, okay, in the next 2 years, 5 years? So when you told this, y- it's a journey, it's a process because it takes
It,
time.
right,
So
right.
thanks Piyush for putting finger on this. And the next question that I have is from Irfana. Now, Irfana is a very good friend of mine and quite a young CEO also. So, Irfana has mentioned, if we are in our 20s, what are the top skill we should learn?
All right. I think Irfana would answer this question even better when I have interacted with her at one of the situations. Irfana would know the top skills since she's an entrepreneur. And I feel, if we talk of 20s, what I feel in today's time is having a great grip over your decision making, your critical thinking, your creative thinking, and most importantly is your vision and your commitment is something I feel are the top skills. Because um, commitment, discipline, and that will gradually lead to our time management skills as well. Because that's one of the things all of us have been facing, whether we are in 20s, we are in 30s, we are it's starting their career, starting our career, we are a student anyway. So I think these are some of the skills is if we start building. And if we see our education policy, the government itself is talking about building these skills from the childhood, right? Creative thinking, decision making, how can a child decide, how can you decide what is it that you want to pick up, which career is suitable to you, why is it suitable to you, how can you attach it to your outcome, how can you attach to your aspirations, what are your aspirations, rather than comparing it with your peers, rather than having a peer pressure or a social pressure. Are you able to decide yourself? So I think creative thinking, decision making skills, and adding a flavor of innovation to it will certainly help in our 20s and otherwise as well.
Yes. And also, Piyush, I would like to add is money management skill, which I have seen. Like, Piyush, you would agree to the fact that many of the participants who come or approach us for our services, they come at the 11th hour,
Exactly.
be it a fresher or be it a seasoned professional. And one of the questions where we brainstorm with them, okay, so why do you need this? And they are like, okay, so I have got a notice from my job. I'm confused what would happen next. And somewhere I have felt that this money management skill is quite important. And even I was
Exactly.
going through some YouTube channel, and if you'll just Google in Ankur Wariko or other young finance speakers, they talk about should you buy a house or rent a house, how to have 1 CR by the age of 30. These are
Yes.
also something, and definitely decision making, creative, critical skills, all of them should translate into money management, because ultimately the way we see it is money management is something which is not at all emphasized in the market.
Exactly. And I think this also highlights the fact that whenever we talk to clients and we are exploring the different career, they say, what is the salary aspect? Let's come to that, right? And if we have learned that money management in our 20s, I think we'll be very well able to define our salary, what is it that our expectation is, what are the financial compensation or the non-financial compensation parts that we are looking at. And I think, Aditya, where you pointed out money management as a skill, so that this is a cycle, right? So if you handle that in 20, I'm sure our coach's life will be easier while we handle the salary expectation questions with the seniors.
Great, great. So, Piyush, when it comes to career confusion, what advice would you give to a smart driven individual about the real world, and what advice to ignore?
Okay. I think a great question, and the question answers itself. A smart, driven individual will already know that what real world is, right? Someone who is very practical will have a smart approach, right? Such as our elders also tell us that you should talk to multiple people, but understand that you have to follow what your situation is. You have to be aware of your situation, and hence, um, act accordingly, right? So and also when we compare, so comparison is something that all of us do. Even I would do, you would do, but let us make sure that the comparison, if we are taking, if we are talking about our career or anything about with others, let us start comparing with others a of ra, not from ra to others z, right? That's not a right comparison. That is something I think a smart driven individual will do in the real world. And again, to ignore, I think something which is not suitable to your situation. For example, if I'm a software developer and my friend is upskilling to a blockchain development because he or she has an interest towards it, it doesn't mean that you also have an interest towards that, right? So you should figure out, for example, you're great at databases, so why not you upskill in big data, right? So that's where we have to understand that what is my aptitude, what is my interest, what is my situation where I want to look for, and hence we can do a wise decision and we can come out as a smart driven individuals.
I completely agree to the point where you mentioned do not compare your E with someone's Z. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember this thing. And this is something which I really see on campuses, that students are like, I want 10 lakhs package, I want 20 lakhs package, I want 50 lakhs. And I'm like, wow, the bidding has started. And why do you deserve so? Because other person is asking. And I'm like, okay, is that a good benchmark? I don't know. Because in my society, in my circle. So thank you for highlighting this, because it's very important to understand the lifestyle sacrifices you need to make. Because if a person is earning a x amount, they have a certain lifestyle against which they are going, and that is not a healthy comparative to be drawn across. And what advice to ignore? What you said, I totally resonate on that. Be clear with your reality, not someone else's reality. Be clear with your goals. Like, Piyush, you would understand. uh, Last evening I was going through Simon Sinek's Infinite Games keynote, and there the host mentioned him about the quarter life crisis, where the people are like this: what
Okay.
am I doing? I have a job, I'm not happy. I have a salary, I'm not happy. What is happening in my life?
Right.
And this is where you start to question yourself, and you ask, is this my dream, is this my reality, or have I been programmed into this thing?
Yes.
So,
Very relevant point.
great. Great. And we are having so many barrage of questions. I'll take another one from Divya. And Divya, thank you, Divya, for asking this question. She's asking, he or she, please correct me. Divya is asking, there is always a lot of confusion in terms of what we actually want. At times, it even gets tough to set own career goals, and we tend to continue in current scenario with the fear of impact on the money part. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Sure. I think again, money part comes into picture, and when we say that, a lot of I'll focus more on how to get that clarity, right? You getting into a mode of self mentorship or a self reflection is something that is very important. Even if you talk to multiple people, until and unless you understand what I want, right, as per your aptitude and interest as well, yeah, that is where you'll be able to figure out that what is it that I want. One thing that we should work on is getting an awareness, right? So in the morning, I was talking to this client where he said that I am 25 years of age, I have about 3 years of experience, and I am into software development and I want to move forward. Where I am not aware. All right. So I think awareness is first thing. When I started exploring that what is it that he want to do, he said I am an extrovert and I want to, have a job where I can talk to people. I do not want to sit at one place and do the work. So that is where I said that. Uh, so this question came up: where do you see yourself in coming 2 years, etc. And then the another section, the another part of the conversation came up was that he was not even aware of what are the roles that he can take up, right? So that awareness is the first step, is the first step to reach to our target. Is to reach the heights that we want to reach, right? So if we are aware, yeah. So for example, if our mother says what do you want to eat, we'll say okay, anything, give us anything. And if she'll say that you I have ABC option, all right, you choose what you want to, then I am clear that yes, I'm aware that this is what is available and now I want to choose, right? So if I know that there is a product management vertical where I can go into, there is a sales and marketing team where I can go into, there is a delivery management role that I go into, there's a consultant, there is a project management. If I want to grow into technical, do I want to grow into a team management role or an IC role, right? So if we have that awareness, I think that solves a lot of problems, right? So in our conversations also, Aditya, you would also agree and other coaches would agree that if we so the first conversation is all about exploration, discovering where you are, and then the next we move on to bringing that awareness stage. And I think that's very important, understanding where you are. So I was talking to one of the CAs, or so one of the aspiring CAs, wherein he has given two attempts and he said that I'm not going to give the another attempt. I said, then where again, all about goals, where do you see yourself in coming 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? He said, if I would have cleared now, I would have got 10 lakh package, right? Coming to a money part. I said, if you're not going to clear in the third attempt, then what? He said, maybe I'll get eight. I said, if you're not going to clear it so if you're not going to even attempt it, if you're not going to even participate in the run, then what? Then he said, then I'm not going anywhere. My whole 7 to 8 years of effort, where I have done my graduation, post graduation goes into vain. I have done my articleship. I have done I have some work experience as well. So that is where, even if we relate it to the money part, getting that clarity, being aware, having a goal set for ourselves, and also very importantly, being aware of the outcome that it will bring to. Yeah. So if we are taking a path A, what is the outcome? If we are taking a path B, so even if we are aware of what are the paths we have, we should also do a pros and cons analysis. We should do a gap analysis to understand where will it take to. Is the outcome what we are expecting, etc. So that's what is my view on this.
I completely resonate and echo on your sentiments. And Piyush, before we move ahead, I'll request you to, for the people who haven't hired, and I'm categorically using the word hired, a professional career coach, uh, what is the process like? Like, how soon can anyone start expecting result? What is the kind of physical, emotional, financial commitment does an individual need to do? Because it's not like a lifestyle kind of thing. It's like you go and order it on Amazon. It's something deeper, because we work on the value and the belief system. So can you please
Exactly.
share the entire process?
All right. So Aditya, I think very important for all of us to highlight this, and thank you for bringing up that question. Even before we talk about career confusion, even if before we talk about goal setting, it is very important to understand how a career coaching process works. And also talking about the results, I think once a coachee or to be coachee is committed to the growth, is committed to the change that they want to bring in, is the time that change starts, coming up, and the results start bringing in, right? Because your mindset changes, your perspective changes. So if you are looking at glass half full or half empty, that changes immediately, right? And you will feel that there is a wall, and that is a self made wall. Once you start feeling that, yes, I need to change this, I need to grow, and this is my responsibility. My coach is my my co-creative relationship, but it is me who has to take the actions, right? So whenever this thought starts coming in, the results start coming in. I'm sure you will agree to it, right? So, coaching is a term which is synonymous to two very important phrases, that is goal focused and action oriented, right? If you have goals in mind, if you have some goals in mind and you focus on that goal, you have a right planning, you have a right thoughts why you are reaching there, etc. And then you have action plans. You are doing those actions, as session on session. That is where you will start see the progression. A proper result, I mean, whatever is the outcome. For example, if a client is coming to us for a job search, etc., or a profile building, for example, LinkedIn, resume, cover letter, etc., and the interview skills preparation, so the outcome will obviously come in about 6, 8, 10 sessions, depending on the level you are at. But it is always a package. It is always like going to a gym. One session, two session will not give you a result. A group of sessions will give you a result. It is also like moving on a highway where you see the directions, and that is where a coach is going to come into picture. Whether you should move left, whether you should move right, will come into in picture in the during the sessions with the coach. And hence you'll be able to identify that, yes, if I take a little u-turn and take left, maybe I'm going to reach the right path. Because we in the coaching sessions, we are like a satellite, right? We are seeing the picture, we are seeing the bigger picture. We are seeing it from different directions. Whether it is 6 or is it 9, it matters, right? That is where a coaching conversation comes into picture. And yes, as I said, the results will certainly start coming in once that thought of change comes in. So also, one more thing that I want to bring here is, coach is not something, that is, so you are facing a problem and you come to a coach. No, you are performing at one level and you want to take yourself to the next level. So that is where coach is going to help with you, right? A career coach is not going to help you with any problems or something. But yes, when you feel that, oh, I'm performing, I am, I'm good, but there is something that I can do better, and that better is something that coach can help you. So a coaching conversation is all about goals, it's all about actions, it's all about commitment from both sides, obviously. So the actions have to be there. So I remember once someone reached out to me at LinkedIn and said that, oh, I need this help. So I said, this is an advice, this is not a coaching help, right? So he said, yes, this is an advice. So I said, this, are you looking at advice? So even a friend can give you an advice. So that's not a professional help. A professional help, when you hire a coach, then it has to be a process. It has to be time taking. So every session will, you will have to devote time. You will have to devote time between the sessions. As I said, some kind of self reflection, some kind of activities that you need to do. So coach and coachee relationship is thus called a co-creative relationship. We create it together, right? And hence, when it's a coach who is committed towards your growth, it is first you who has to be committed to your growth, right? So it's the time that you have to spend, it's an effort that you have to spend, it's a thought of bringing a change, moving towards betterment, is something that is very much required. So if you want to hire a career coach, I think LinkedIn or Google, I mean, other Insta, Facebook, every social media has a lot of my colleagues as well who are doing great as career coaches. Hiring is not a problem, I think. But yes, understanding where I fit into that coaching scenario is something that we as an individuals need to understand as well.
And thank you, Piyush, for emphasizing on the part that if you're looking for professional expertise, you need to hire a coach. Otherwise, advice you can get from your friend also. And it's a ongoing process. You cannot just join a gym and in 2 sessions you can say I have a six-pack ab or I'm fit. It's the accountability that is
Yes,
required. Like,
exactly.
and Piyush, I would also share that whenever any person is coming to me, the first question I ask them is, have you worked with a coach or is this your first time exploration?
Mm-hmm.
If a
Okay.
person says it's my first time, I tell them thank you, all the best, you are not ready as of now,
Mm-hmm.
because you need to perform at a level, otherwise you will be like, hey, why are you asking me question? If I knew the question, I wouldn't be working. And
Yes,
this is
exactly.
something. So for the viewers who are watching, if you really want to unleash your true potential, hire a coach and be ready. The coach is not going to advise you. The coach is going to help you to stretch your limits, to stretch your thought process. Great,
Exactly.
great.
I
Now,
also use one phrase here, Aditya. Before we move on, I would like to highlight it. I tell them that I am not here to give you a solution. And they are like, are you here not to give us a solution? Then why are we here? So I tell them, I am here to empower you find your own solutions, right? And that is where, the power of coach, and that is what I love about my work, that I am not here to give you a solution, but I am empowering you, I am helping you understand what is your solution, and that is where the power of one-on-one conversation comes into picture. So this is very important thing, that all of us need to understand as well.
great, great. Now, I'll take one question from Varun. Varun has asked, why is passion treated differently from career?
Okay, all right. uh, Let me give you an example. I have a passion for travel. Can I make it a career? I have a passion for photography. Is it a career? I have a passion for recipes. So a lot of food recipes have come out in 2020, and still, people are there are a lot of bakers, a lot of chefs that have come up from different communities. Is that a career? That is what we need to question ourselves. Is it something that is going to bring us satisfaction? Is it something that is going to bring us money? And is it going, so if I have a passion for travel, if I'm whether, because whenever you're in a career, you will certainly do a job or an entrepreneurship, right? Certainly you'll have some targets to achieve, some goals to achieve for an organization or your organization. So that will not remain something that you may enjoy. So when you are using it as a passion, maybe you are enjoying, but when you are using that travel as your business, for example, you have taken a job of a sales director and you feel that, oh, I had a passion for travel, but now I'm not enjoying because I have to go at the places where it is required, right? So that is where differentiating between passion and career is very important. Whether I'm doing it for my own happiness, I'm doing it in my free time, or I'm using it for my career. Career is basically where I'll have to work in a format, right? I'll have to so this is going to earn me money. Yeah. So that is where differentiating between both of them is very important.
And Piyush, you touched upon a very precise point. What is the fine line between have to and want to? Have to sounds
Right.
more like a burden, want to sounds more like an inspiration. I want to do it versus I have to do it. So,
Exactly.
uh, Varun, ask yourself, why can't you convert your passion into a career? And just ask yourself, how can you do it? The whole
Exactly.
idea is like, Piyush, let's be honest. A few years back, we told our parents we are going to become coaches. Our parents would have been, hey, hello, you fine.
They were not even aware of what is this field, right? My father till today, and my family members till today ask me, Ki, when you transitioned 4 years back, we never even knew what you're going to do. And now also, I mean, they have some of them have a clear picture what I'm doing, specifically the people who are working, etc. But they some say that we are not even clear what you do, right? So that's where because public speaking training, talking on modules, having communication, listening, etc., was something that was my interest, that was my passion. And I thought, I'll convert into career. And I think, Varun, this is an addition to your question, where there are people who are converting their passion into their career as well. But then it has to be a thoughtful process, right? And it cannot come immediately, such as when I was giving this food blogging example. So this was a client who had about 3 or 4 years of experience. And he said that I want to quit everything and I want to get into a food blogging, and I want to rather get into a food critic business. So I said, have you done any content writing or anything on that? He said, no, I haven't done. So I said, if someone will ask you to write a critic review over it, such as movie reviews, and you haven't done any blogging, you haven't tried the food, etc., how will you do that? How will you do justice to that? He said, yes, that's a thing, I need to then start working, right? So then it may take years to, or it may take months to do it. If you want to do it, I'm sure, and then you make a proper goal and you have an outcome that yes, this is something that I want to do, and hence you'll be able to reach. So there can be point where a passion can convert into a career, but then it has to be very thoughtful. And again, goal setting comes into picture, wherein we started our discussion also.
Great, great. So, Piyush, just tell me, in the last few months, what have you become better at saying no to?
Okay. I think I have learned the way or the art of saying no. uh, Such as, if for example, some client has come to me. So I'll quote an example, who was laid off last year, and he said, I want this, and I want it immediately. I said, good that you want it, and good that you want it immediately. So let us talk in detail about it. So I said, okay, first is resume that we need to work on. So you'll have to give me these details for resume. By when will you be able to give? He said, I'll take a week's time. I said, then the next process will also take a week's time, right? He said, okay, then we have to work on our cover letter. We have to work on LinkedIn. I said, okay, great. So we must work on profile building. But for that, these are the things that you need to give to me, or these are the things that you need to collate, because you need to be very well aware of your accomplishments. And hence that is what we are going to highlight in your profile, right? Whether it is resume, it is cover letter, or LinkedIn, right? So he said, I think that will take time, a week time from my side. So I said, then it cannot be hurry, right? So that is what I have learned. Help. I mean, this was a way where I didn't say no, But I said this is a process and this is how we have to do, and hence when we have to work together. So it is not that everything will come to you in a hurry, right? Even if you have your profile ready, the job market will take time, the recruiters will take time, because your visibility, your profile visibility will take time. We have to work on your optimization, your profile optimization. We have to work on your LinkedIn optimization, which will certainly take time, right? There are some external factors as well. So I think this is what I have learned. Otherwise, initially, if I would have been 4 years back, I would have said, no, that cannot be done. But I think giving a reason, giving a proper reason, a practical reason to that it cannot be done, and everything takes time. And, everything, we have to be patient also. Even if we have done all the process, then also people are not getting calls. Or, then when we do the gap analysis, we understand that maybe they are not applying to the right jobs, right? So that is where highlighting the facts and figures certainly helps us being better at saying no. And I think this also applies to when we are working in an organization, how a leader can say no, right? So giving a fact and figure, I do a very simple exercise, a role play exercise, where I ask people that you are an employee and your manager has said that you have to stay back today for some work, right? Because there's a high priority deliverable. How will you handle it? And at home you have committed your family members also, and it's a very common situation that all of us would have come to know in our lifetime. So I do this kind of simulation during the coaching and the training sessions as well. And different groups come up with different ideas, right? So for example, they say we can delegate it to someone, we can talk to manager, and that is where the art of communication comes into picture as well. So in case we are communicating, we are highlighting the right facts and figures. That is where I understand, I know there's a lot of tasks to do, still needs to do, on understanding various nuances of this task, saying no, because at times even we miss those. But yes, I think I have become better by saying no. So by using a questioning mode, facts and figures, etc.
Great. And Shavik has a question from us. Ma'am, as a fresher, what are the things one should look in a company? And in the beginning, should a fresher focus on the money or the quality of work?
Okay, Shavik, let me ask you this: will you focus on only money or the quality? If you have the quality of work and the money is less, what will you prioritize? Two situations: one, more money, less quality of work; second is less money, more quality of work. And I think every viewer who is looking this, in addition to Shavik, will understand that in the long run, the quality of work, the satisfaction, the fulfillment that we are looking at from our professional career is more important, right? Because we we also have to understand what is our short term goal or long term goal, right? In the long run, if we had more money but we are feeling stressed, we are unsatisfied, we are comparing us, so when you're looking at the first company, obviously the culture, the work, the kind of technologies that they're working in, are they working in the latest technology, how is their culture, how are the people? So check their Twitter account, check their LinkedIn account, and be aware of how the leaders are taking up COVID-19 norms as well. And so quality of work is something that we should focus on, and money will certainly follow. If you're going to do the hard work, money is certainly going to follow. And I think all of us have seen this, and this is a very well known Gita Gyan also, कि we have to do our actions, and that is what has worked in my part also. And I'm sure for all of us, if we are going to do the hard work, if we are going to be committed to our task, the money is going to follow, because we are certainly going to get the work, we are certainly going to get that attention that is required.
Thank you, Piyush, for echoing in on the sentiments. Shavik, and for other listeners, always remember, money is an outcome. Money is a ongoing process. It's a result. It's not your final destination. If you won't enjoy the journey, which is in terms of the quality of work, what would you do if you are getting the money? And it takes a lot of thought process. Like Piyush, when you mentioned after 11 years you moved out of corporate and you moved out of a mid managerial position, it wasn't something. If you would have continued, you must have got into the senior cadre by now. By virtue of your work, you took that leap of faith. It's not easy going, but somewhere it's like your inner desire. What kind of work would you like to do?
Yes.
And
Right.
this,
I think that applies to not only the fresher, even the senior leaders. So I remember coaching a person who was into product management, and he said that I want to transition to a delivery management or sales and marketing role. He also said that I am getting a good money at at one of the organization, but the location is far off, right? uh, the organize so I'm getting two options. One is in the same location that I am in, and that organization is giving me less money, but I think the quality or the culture that organization brings in is better than the one I'm getting outside, which is far off. I'm getting a better although I'm getting a better designation there, but the culture is not much known for. So that is where we need to do that weightage, we need to do that prioritization for even the leaders, senior people, so hence this also echoes with our conversation where we started, that career confusion, career decisions, everything comes in every stage of our career.
great, great. And Piyush, just share with us, how can people reach out to you?
Okay. I am quite active at LinkedIn. I consider LinkedIn as my, workplace. That is where I would like people to connect with me. My email ID is piyush.lifecoach@gmail.com. I'm quite active at Instagram. I can be found at Facebook, Twitter. I have my website as well, mrslifecoach.com.
Great, great. And Piyush, what is your message for your prospective viewers or your clients who would be listening or watching this? What kind of homework should they do before they actually reach out to you?
I think they should look at my profile. That's very important to understand where I can help. Because whenever people reach to me, there are someone who is facing a emotional baggage, someone who is facing a relationship issue, etc., and they reach out to me saying that we need that help. So it is very important to understand that where what is my expertise, and as I said that social media is my workplace, and I spend a lot of time there. So and this applies to every if you are hiring any coach, if you're hiring anyone for the services, it is very important to understand where he or she can help us, and getting that clarity and then reaching out to them, and will certainly help. So that first step of questioning or confusion will not come into picture. So knowing that what my expertise is, and hence reaching out to me at my email ID, at my LinkedIn, will certainly help. And
Great.
I make sure that I respond to my messages within few minutes or within few hours.
So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to follow Piyush Mahajan. Her Instagram handle is Miss Life Coach, and also to connect and follow Piyush on LinkedIn. And Piyush is also a regular contributing and a columnist to various newspaper and magazine. So make sure you reach out to Piyush, avail her services, because Piyush is gem of a person, and I have personally known Piyush for Piyush what 4+ years
Yes, when I
approximately.
remember when I transitioned, yes, when I transitioned, I found your contact and we got in touch. And
Via
since
LinkedIn.
then, you have via LinkedIn, yes. So I think LinkedIn is something very important, where people have reached out to me, and I have also reached out to people. And Aditya and I are, today the product of LinkedIn network. So that's where the power of networking comes into picture as well.
Great, great. Thanks, Piyush. And ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to share any suggestion, any thought, drop us a message on hi@coachsisodia.com. So, Piyush, before we wrap up, please share your experience of our today's conversation.
I think it was great, Aditya. The flow of session was like, I could just see that it's about 50 minutes have crossed, or I cannot realize that this much time has gone. It was such a great conversation, and the interaction is something that I love doing. I do not. So whenever I get some queries around that there's a training assignment, there's a coaching assignment, etc., and they say that we do not want someone who to deliver lecture. I tell them that I cannot deliver a lecture, right? It's always a facilitation, it's always interaction that helps us connect better with each other, and it also helps us network better with each other. And Aditya, thank you so much to you and your team for making it such a smooth journey. I couldn't have thanked you more for making my Sunday evening much better. It gave me a great learning experience, and I'm sure the conversation will help the viewers as well.
Thank you, Piyush. It really means a lot. And so we have got a compliment from Avik. Avishek, hi Piyush, hope you are keeping well and safe. I have a simple question. How can I get a job abroad, especially in procurement and supply chain domain? Any thoughts you would like to share?
Okay. I think this is a very specific question, but overall, a generic answer to it is that, first, profile building is something which is very important within your own domain, and then start reaching out to the recruiters of that area through LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., social media, and also figure out some job search portals of that area. For example, Canada has different job search portals. Indeed is a portal which has a geographic, which is global. So you can figure out some specific job search portals of that area, and then start applying for procurement and supply chain domain, and that will certainly help you.
Great. And Avishek, my invitation to you would be take this conversation offline with Piyush. Do check your calendar and Piyush calendar, because in the next few moments it would be quite difficult because a lot of factor goes into this thing. Like I remember today evening I was having a conversation with someone, and it was more of a group session, and one of the participant was like, okay, I'm aiming for overseas opportunity. And then I was like, okay, let's brainstorm. So one of the person told that first have your work visa in place, or at least have a visa in place. You want to go abroad and you don't have the documentation, and you are thinking, okay, when things will happen. Second was,
Yeah.
be very clear with the country. Don't be very abstract or vague. So, Abhishek, please do connect with Piyush. Piyush is gem of a coach, and definitely her work speaks volume. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in into another amazing episode of Stories of Opportunity. It's your love and care that helps us to bring in amazing individual. You heard Piyush Mahajan in our today's episode, and I would encourage you do hit and smash that like button if you felt our program is making an impact and difference in your life. Do invite others to subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to hosting you in coming weeks ahead.